Mr Chairman, I've got Mick Gayfer from Corrigan.
Welcome, Mick.
Thank you. I'm actually here by the grace of God and the help of the Chairman. It's otherwise I might be further away. Listening to what's going on, I think that all of us should reflect on what we have. Sure, it can be improved, but we've got to reflect where we're coming from and what we've got. Years ago, all we had around the country was 312 sheets of galvanised iron, sleeper and barbed wire and binder twine, correct. That's all we had. And it was, you want to reflect and just think where it was. In 1945, we were wondering where the hell we can go and where we might finish up. In 1970, when we couldn't get any more water, deep water on the Kwinana area, we went actually and put in a silo or two up at Geraldton first. Then we had to get out of Fremantle because it had 30 feet of seawater. That's all. We wanted 58. So we decided we'd put a bit of pressure here and there to get Kwinana, 60 acres. Now, how we did it, it doesn't matter. It's another story. But we did it. And the thing you want to remember is that there's a 1 million tonne edifice there that holds 1 million tonne, and it's still the best one in the world. And I defy anybody to prove otherwise. It delivers at 5,000 tonnes an hour, unheard of years ago. Even then, somebody said, oh, the boat will sink. Well, of course, those are the sceptics. When we decided that we were going to build there, we worked it out that we needed $42 million in cash. And all we had was barbed wire, corrugated iron, nothing much, 3 springs, we had that one, training. We had 3 altogether in concrete, and that's all we had. So we decided that we'd take our way over to Melbourne and see the hierarchy of the Commonwealth Bank. Well, we didn't last very long. 42 million was a lot of money, a lot of money. Up to that time, there was only 28 million that had ever been bought in by Billy Snedden from Japan, and that was $28 million. We wanted 42 here in little old Western Australia. So we decided to go overseas. In the meantime, 12 million was agreed to by the National Bank of Australia and Chase Manhattan. They agreed for 12 million. That left us $30 million shy. And it's pretty, you don't sleep very well when you want to do something. You've got to do something to get deep water, to get rid of the wheat, to send it overseas. It had to be built. So we went overseas. We visited 9 banks, Credito Italiana and Mitsubishi, it doesn't matter who they were, and we borrowed the money. We borrowed 30 million DMs, Deutschmark, and we started. As a matter of fact, on the return trip, the then general manager, Mick Lane and I, in the one plane, we had the pile drivers coming in from Amsterdam with their boat, ready to drive all the piles, and there's plenty of them had to be, because we knew we were right. But there was one obstacle we were having, Mr Chairman, and that was convincing our growers. I mean, it was a lot of money. And I wasn't very happy either, because I'm like you, I was chairing it. And anyway, we had faith, and consequently, we decided to get on and build it. And we built an edifice, 1 million tonnes, 2,800 feet to 58 feet of water, 5,000 tonne belt going out. It's colossal. But the only trouble we had then was with the wharfies. And the wharfies wanted to control the edifice right back at Portside. We knew damn well if they got in there, with all due respect, they're a progressive organisation, they would then want to man all the country installations, because the AWU in those times weren't very strong. So righto, we fought them 6 weeks, and finally about 10,000 people, and some of you might have been there, although I don't think any of you are old enough for this, but they assembled, we assembled with the best loudspeakers we could get anywhere, yeah, and we made a pretty severe address at the time, and we knew that our friends, the wharfies, were just over the fence. So that was the second thing that I want to draw your attention to, because without Kwinana and without all that going around and without the faith eventually the growers had in us that we weren't as mad as they thought we were, I had my worries about that at one stage too, but we eventually climbed the hill. But our most important thing had to go with it, and that was our staff and our employees. In 1945, I think I'm right, am I, Terry? We started a superannuation thing for our employees. Right out of the blue, we decided to, I wasn't on the board then, I don't think, but it was decided to start the employees' CBH superannuation fund. And that has grown now to, I thought it was the third best in Australia, but Terry seems to think it's the second, so I won't argue with him on that. But you've got to realise that we've never had a strike at Christmas time in CBH. Never. How do you think the shareholders would be suffering if they had a strike all of a sudden? The handling of the staff by the board and the management is terrific. We've never had a strike. Never. We've had a few did their block now and again, but, you know, collectively they didn't join together. So that's the second point I want you to remember, is care of the staff, and that's what we've got now. The other thing I was reading in the report, in the chairman's report, that they have 1,000, permanent staff working, and 2,000 employees at harvest time. Well, damn it all, that's what we had, exactly those figures, going right back 30 or 40 years. But we bought in nearly $20 million worth of computers. And we boasted that, yeah, I still don't know how to use a computer, so don't get this wrong, but we boasted that with this we would save work, permanent employees and so forth, right through the ages. And we did. Otherwise there'd be more than 1,000, 2,000 now, when the organisation is bigger by far. And the other thing that I want you to think about is getting rid of that barbed wire and binder twine. That wasn't easy. We had to reduce 312 sidings to 290. And we took it. We had to close every second one. We had to listen to the shareholders. This would never happen. Well, no, you can't have that. But it worked. It's worked. And not only that, you've got the greatest horizontal silo system in the world. You might add, why is it horizontal and not like 3 springs going up in the air or training? The point is there that we would have only been a quarter of the way through now in funding and building if we had gone that way, as some of our directors and some members of the Australian Wheat Board wanted us to do. So we're through that. We then put in the system that you've got now, and it's terrific. What I've seen happen in the 8 years, well, since I left anyway, 1998, is absolutely magnificent. You can read that report, you can throw up what you like, but there's no way that you'll get a better system going than you will with the use of your cooperative. It doesn't cost you anything. You're getting it back in service. You've got all of it back over the years in what I just mentioned, millions and millions of dollars. We got it back, but we had to bite the bullet, just the same as they bought the bullet with the rail system. But in order to keep the rail going, they've got to fight like hell to keep the sidings open, and that's up to them. But I'm trying to get over the story. It's a biblical one. It says this: "In strength will I build this mine house to stand forever." I think we helped build it. You've continued to build it, and I know, Mr. Chairman, that with adequate prevention of white ants getting in, and it shouldn't because ours is all concrete, but if it goes for that, this will last forever, and I wish you all the best. I won't come back here to any more meetings. I'm 90 years coming up now, and you know, whether I see a year out doesn't matter. So I won't be able to accept any more invitations. But I've wanted, for all these years since 1998, to say something about what we stand for, what we did, and how we did it. And there's a lot more to the story than that. But it's on the building of Kwinana, the care of our employees. Those are the two important things in my opinion. And the building of all the 290 horizontal silos that we have now. I wish you luck, and thank you for me allowing yourself to be bored by me.
Thank you.